sitting ahead of guys like Logan Gilbert, Luis Castillo, George Kirby, Pablo Lopez, Zach Eflin. Like, there's some pretty big names that he's, like, leagues ahead so far.
Yeah.
You know, he's right in the conversation with the top guys so far, and, you know, Garrett Crochet and Skubal and Reagans and all those guys.
Was it Crochet or Whitlock that just got out for the year?
I think that was Whitlock. It was one of the Red Sox.
Yes,
guys.
Whitlock. Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure it was Whitlock.
But still, he's in some pretty good company.
Mm-hmm.
And that's F4, by the way, which I think favors FIP a little better than ERA. So.
Mm-hmm. It was Whitlock, by the way. I just fact checked us. Yeah, but also in that game, just because I want to mention it, because I'll get into a bigger point in it. Judge went 2 for 2, 1 home run, 2 walks. Stan had a homer. I'll get into that more later, but my overall thoughts on the series were, one, there was a lot of regression to the mean for guys where Clark, say, like, tipping, whatever, but Clark's been like such a huge run. A little bit coming back. You could say tipping, whatever. It's still 5 innings pitched, 2 runs last year for Clark is a pretty damn good start. This year, it's one of his worst starts.
Yeah.
Put in perspective, they said a stat on the broadcast today that Clark, every start this year, he has allowed 3 or fewer runs. He has not allowed more than 3 runs one time this year.
It's huge.
Which, as your number 4 starter, going into the year, should have been your number 5 starter if Cole was healthy.
Yeah.
That is incredible. So, a little bit of regression. Obviously, Clay Holmes also. But I think the big thing is you weren't, say what you want about the Mariners' offense not hitting well. You weren't facing bums when it came to the pitchers. Yeah. You had Logan Gilbert that you tagged for 3 runs on 6 innings. Bryce Wu, he just kills the Yankees. No runs, 6 innings. Like last year, I think he did the same thing to us. Bryce Miller, you had 5 earned runs in 6 innings. And then Luis Castillo, you had 2 earned runs in 5 innings. Luis Castillo absolutely kills the Yankees. 2 runs in 5 innings is like scoring 10 runs. It's one of those things where he kills you so much. He always that changeup has like the most bite of all time. But yeah, and speaking of which, just completely off topic. But I was looking at, did you know his changeup percentage pretty much got cut in half when he got moved to Seattle?
Yeah, he completely.
I did not know that.
Scrapped it almost.
Yeah, it became his first pitch to like his last pitch. I remember when he was with Cincinnati, everyone was saying like it was the best changeup in the league.
Right.
Completely off topic. I just saw that and I thought that was very interesting. But yet it's not like they were bumps. You were facing the 3-4 best pitchers in one of the best rotations, or at least top heavy rotations of baseball. So
for sure.
But then moving on to the San Diego series. So game 1 was Carlos Rodon versus Yu Darvish. Carlos Rodon went 6 innings pitched, 3 hits, no runs, 3 walks, 2 strikeouts. Very weird start. Very weird. Where it's no runs, 3 walks, 2 strikeouts.
Right.
Which you don't really...
For a guy like Carlos Rodon.
Yeah.
2 strikeouts.
But he went 6 scoreless.
Right. But, I give a ton of props to him because I'm sure he made an adjustment somewhere there. It's like, all right, these guys aren't swinging at the pitches they should be swinging at. Maybe let's move to a more contact-oriented approach. And it worked. And, that says a lot about a pitcher. Mm-hmm. And I think, given his injury history and how things have gone last year and this year, it's nice to see him kind of adjust on the fly.
I agree.
And I like seeing him being able to, like I talked about it in the past, take off a few ticks from his fastball, reach back when you need it. Like little things like that is what makes it
kind of start like at 94, 95, then like the 6th inning, then throw 97 consistently. Yeah. Right. And a funny thing that all Yankee fans, I encourage you to do, on games Carlos Rodon is starting, look up his wife on Twitter, Ashley Rodon. Just she like barely tweets about the Yankees, but when it's his turn, like Austin Wells, like there was a ball that got called a strike, and she tweeted like you stole it from Wells or something, and then next pitch she'd be like, oh ball don't, she said like ball don't lie. It's just like dumb, where it's literally like a fan that's married to a player whenever he's starting. It's like the funniest thing.
Yeah.
But then also Yandris Gomez, perfect inning, struck out 3 batters. I'm not gonna really get into too much of him right now because, or at least this episode, because we've only seen 1 appearance. And who even knows if he stays when guys come back. But he's a guy that I really liked in the minors. Hopefully he can stay on this team and kind of cement himself a role in the bullpen. But then when it comes to the hitting, I was very impressed this game. Where Yu Darvish had a 25 inning scoreless streak going into this game. You tagged him for 7 runs in 5 2/3 innings, and he should not have made it past the 3rd. Like when I was watching that game, I'm like, why are they leaving him in? Like they're leaving him out there to die.
Yeah.
And it's just it didn't make sense for them leaving him in was a sign that they were waving the white flag.
Almost, yeah, basically.
Like just because of how like they were hitting and just. The story that I thought was so funny was, so Soto hits a home run. Right after that, Paul O'Neill says, I don't have the exact quote, but he was talking that like Judge, Stan, and Soto all hit the ball, and they had that special sound. Right after that next pitch, Judge hits a home run over 110 miles an hour. 2 at-bats later, Stan hits a home run over 110 miles an hour. So and then Glaber ends up hitting one later, but it's getting silly at this point. It's legitimately getting silly, and I'll get more into that later. Don't you worry. Stroman had another just great start, 6 innings, no runs. But in game 2, Judge hit another home run. But I wasn't watching all this game because I was at a wedding, and so as Nick knows this, but you guys may not know, I am kind of like the de facto babysitter for my baby cousins. And so there's 2 things. One, so my baby cousin's mom, so my cousin-in-law, however you want to say that, she like looks so stressed because she was like watching, they're on like their iPads, everyone's dancing. I'm like, yo, Tina, just like go dance, whatever, we'll watch them. So they're just both watching their iPads. I put my phone in between their iPads with the Yankee game on. So I'm watching the game with it. And Lukey, the like younger one, he like just looks at the game and just walks in on the game. And then fast forward like fast forward like keep in mind he's about 2 years old. Fast forward like an hour and a half later, we're taking the shuttle back, and they both wanted to sit with me. So I have one on one lap, one on the other, one on one leg, one on the other leg, and I put the Yankee game on to watch. So then Lukey, the younger one, grabs my phone like this and just holds my phone watching the Yankee game.
Attaboy. Attaboy.
He wasn't exiting out, wasn't doing, literally just holding it like this right in his face watching the Yankee game.
We're doing our part to grow the game. What are you doing?
That was the like he literally took my phone out of my hands. Just
I love
whatever that.
Absolutely love
yeah. And then game 3, Clark, another 5 innings. I talked about it. 2 runs maybe should have been earned, weren't considered earned. Who knows?
Yeah.
Just a sloppy game. It just felt like one of those sloppy getaway games where that's really all you could say. But then my overall thoughts, because man, do I have a couple. Aaron Judge is a goofball. He is silly. He is good at baseball. I don't have adjectives to describe him. In March/April, he had a 117 WRC plus. Solid WRC plus. Not what you're paying him $40 million a year for. But in May, I want you to guess his WRC plus.
215. Higher? 250. 275. 310.
No, 297.
Okay. Insane. Remember when
He has a
everyone was worried
5
about him?
Dude, he has a 515 on base in May. His expected weighted on base is 594. He's expected to get on base 60% of the time. It's silly. It's silly.
There's nothing to say.
It's just a tweet from Yankee World on Twitter. Aaron Judge put together, so it's kind of just showing a 19-game stretch. Where in the 19-game stretch, I think it was as of like a couple days ago, it ended, whatever. He had a 1610 OPS. That is the second best of the last 9 years. Third was a stretch of Aaron Judge in the 2022 season. First was a stretch of Aaron Judge in the 2017 season. Out of all major league players in the last 9 years, Aaron Judge has the 3 best 19-game stretches out of anyone. I've said this.
I want some of that.
No. I've said
no longer
this.
Asking.
I've said this before. We do not appreciate him enough. Just as good as Juan Soto is, Aaron Judge is the better hitter. Soto may be kind of, I don't want to say more consistent. I kind of want to say more, has a higher floor. But Judge's ceiling, I don't think. The only other guy that I think has a ceiling as high as Judge is a pure hitter, maybe not base paths, but a pure hitter is Ohtani. And even then, I'd argue Judge as a hitter is better. So, I just having him. Let me finish reading off this, and then I'll get into that. But he's the first player in Major League Baseball in a 20-game span to have 12 or more doubles, 11 or more home runs. He is tied for second in MLB in home runs, second in MLB in doubles. I'm pretty sure he's first in extra base hits by like 5. With having what people called a horrid May, or horrid March/April.
Right.
It is goofy. It is silly. It is just...
silly, goofy moment.
But then getting into kind of like that larger point, Judge, Stanton, Soto all hitting is just not fair for Major League Baseball. Because Judge, as I mentioned, tied for second in home runs. Soto's tied for 6th. Stanton is tied for 7th. There's a tweet by Katie Sharp, if I get it right now. This was as of May 24th, so it was after Friday's game. Judge, 16, we know he hit another home run. Soto at 14, Stanton at 13 have combined for 43 home runs this season. There are 6 teams that have hit fewer than 43 home runs.
Silly.
It's
silly. It's insane.
Like, it's...
must be nice.
It is. It's very nice. It is very, very nice. And then just to add more to it, qualified hitters with a 20% barrel rate or better this season. There are 3 players on this list. Aaron Judge, Juan Soto, Giancarlo Stanton. That is out of Major League Baseball. Not the Yankees. Major League Baseball. They quite literally have the 3 best guys just for barrel rate. I was saying it when it was only Soto hitting, and I said Judge will be back, and pray for the league if Judge and Soto are hitting at the same time. You're seeing that now. This offense is going absurd. They went 4-3 this week, but it does not feel like they went 4-3. It feels like they went 6-1. Yeah. It feels like you had the Clay Holmes game, then you won every other game. It just... And even then, I'm only talking about them 3. 2 other guys I want to highlight is Anthony Volpe has a 19-game hit streak. Yeah. Like, I'm talking about how good Judge, Stanton, and Soto is. Volpe has a 19-game hit streak, a 23-game on-base streak. By the way, Judge, I think, has a 24-game on-base streak, but that's... Or no, Volpe has 24, Judge has 22.
Right.
In that time for Volpe, he has, for the hit streak, a 310 batting average, 365 on base, 506 slugging, 4 doubles, 2 triples, 3 home runs for a 148 WRC+. I think my favorite part about that is the triples.
Triples are fun. More triples.
One of my guilty pleasures when it comes to with Volpe is when he just flicks his helmet off like mid-run. Like that's one of my favorite things when any player does that. I think it was Brett Gardner that started that, just like flicking the helmet off when like you're full on sprinting and just, especially guys with hair.
Oh yeah, you just see like the flow.
Like if Harrison Bader did that when he was with the Cardinals, dude, it's yeah. Did you? So I've been just talking. Did you have anything to say about any of those guys?
No, I think I, for one, have completely overlooked Volpe in this entire stretch. I will admit that. Haven't thought about him. Haven't looked at him. Nothing. So that's
a 3-week stretch too.
Right.
It's not like it's a minor stretch.
Right, and then just Stanton, man. Like he's probably just on one of those heaters right now, but he looks good. He looks really good, and there's his.
But even then, like he was on a heater, like he was on like a heater like 2 weeks ago.
Right.
So like that kind of gap is like shorter to the point where you'd almost believe, is this some consistency we're seeing from him?
Giancarlo and consistency.
I don't know, man.
It ain't so.
Let me say that I will say this about Stanton. And this is so long ago, so don't use this as like your measuring stick, whatever. But in the 2018 season, when Judge went down, the last 3 months, Stanton was one of the most, if not the most, consistent hitter in baseball.
Right.
So I will say that about Stanton. We have seen times in, like, also you don't hit 59 home runs in 2017 if you're not at least somewhat consistent.
Right.
And I think that because I don't even have notes on Verdugo, but he's also been hitting incredible because, of course, he is. But you notice a lot different things with this Yankee lineup. Like, for example, Aaron Judge, I think he struck out, whatever. And then he went to the on-deck circle where Verdugo was, and he was sitting there talking with Verdugo for 15 seconds while Verdugo was on the on-deck circle waiting to go up to the plate. He talked to him and said, okay, the pitcher's doing this, for 15 seconds. I've never seen that before. They do that all the time this year.
Right.
And I just think that it's the Juan Soto effect. That Aaron Judge has played every single game this year. He's DH'd like 6 games, 7 games, probably about that, 5-6 games. But he has played every single game this year. That is because I can't not point that at Juan Soto, where Juan Soto played every game last year. He's played every game so far this year. So the effect that he has, Juan Soto, is a lot more than just the numbers.
For sure. Definitely. And I think also and this is not really coming from him, but the fact that the Yankees traded for Juan Soto, I think that energy is felt in that clubhouse. If that kind of makes sense.
Yeah.
The fact that, like...
That's kind of what I'm saying, too, where it's like, that guy is like, you're like, oh, you're playing 162? Fuck you, I'm playing 162, yeah, too.
Right. I'll play 163. Ha.
Yeah.
But no, it's just like, it shows that not only does, your manager have confidence in you, but your general manager and as an organization as a whole is backing up your team to be like, you know what, we got you, your guy. Like, let's go out and make some noise. You know what I mean?
I think to even a bigger extent than people realize, you could say the same exact thing with Verdugo, because it was kind of talked about, but everyone in that Yankees clubhouse wanted Verdugo.
Right.
Like, everyone. Judge did, Cole did, Rizzo did, a bunch of guys wanted Verdugo. They got him. He is absolutely loved in that clubhouse.
Yeah.
Like, have you heard the stories about him and Stroman?
With the do-rag?
Yeah. So for the people that don't know that, so Stroman was just like hanging out on the bench and like Alex Verdugo stole one of his do-rags and like put it on, and they just like started like messing around and like bonded over it. It's like kind of stuff like that where they have so many different personalities, but they all have like that work ethic and kind of like just desire to win.
Yeah.
And you see that. That is the type of stuff you see in winning clubhouses, that I didn't want to talk too much in Queens about it, but that's kind of what you're not seeing.
Yeah.
You're not seeing guys do stuff like that. And that is, at the end of the day, what builds that camaraderie.
Yeah. I was just going to say that. Yeah.
But
definitely.
Yeah, then getting on to kind of my last thing for the hitters. Gleyber Torres, last 2 weeks, 137 WRC plus, 3 triples, 3 doubles, 3 home runs, 9 RBIs. He is your number 7 hitter. When LeMahieu comes back, he's probably your number 8 hitter. That is perfect.
Yeah.
Absolutely perfect.
Yeah.
So because I feel so many people, and deservingly so, especially earlier in the year, he was just not good, flat out not good.
Oh yeah.
But he's played so much better as of late, and people know he's one of my favorite players, so I just wanted to give him a little something there.
Well, shout out.
But the team as a whole is like, they are first in WC plus in Major League Baseball. They are first in team ERA. They're second in starter ERA, second in bullpen ERA. So they're just a complete team overall. The thing is, they can get even better. So Jason Dominguez so far in 9 games in between single A and double A, he is hitting 314, 400 on base with a 429 slugging. I will say he started off it is such a small sample size, but he went hitless in his first 2 games in double A, so it made it seem really bad. Then he went 6 for 12. But just, do you even call him up?
Right, yeah.
Because, okay, you could say, send down Grisham. But if Dominguez is going to be up, I want him to play. I don't want Dominguez just to ride the bench. If anything, I want him to be in the outfield every single day in AAA, just working on his fielding, working on mechanics, just kind of getting used to playing baseball again.
Easing back into it.
Exactly.
Yeah, no,
so,
I definitely agree.
Then, a guy that I don't think enough people are talking about on the trade market, and I don't even think he'll be available, but I just saw him today. I'm like, this guy is absolutely fucking insane. Jeremiah Estrada. Do you know who that is?
Yeah, he's on the Padres, right?
He's relieved for the Padres.
Yeah.
I believe they got him off waivers from the Cubs. I could be wrong. He has 10 straight strikeouts. This guy is absurd. For a Padres team that's not really doing anything, granted, they just did trade a lot of reliever depth to get Luis Ariz, but if they, for whatever reason, if he's on the market, everyone is saying Mason Miller. This is a much cheaper Mason Miller. A much cheaper, you would think.
Yeah.
So that's just someone I wanted to kind of keep an eye out on.
Yeah.
Because everyone's saying oh, you need more bullpen, you need more bullpen. The only thing, he doesn't even have a 10th of a year of service time. Right. So he still has 6 years of service time.
Yeah.
So he is gonna cost a lot. Same as Mason Miller. But yeah, that's really it I had for the series that just happened. If you had anything else you want to say.
No, I mean, I think, well, at the end there for Game 3, but it happens. Whatever.
Yeah.
I think, teeing off of Darvish was extremely impressive.
He had 2 home runs given up the entire year.
Right.
You had 4 of
them.
them.
Completely barrage him. But no, I mean, just his team just looks really good. Right
Even
now,
Cease, too. That's the type of guy that would give them problems in the past.
Right. Everything's just clicking right now, and it's showing. It's absolutely showing.
Yeah. Yeah, and then just to wrap it all up, the Yankees are starting a 3-game series with the Los Angeles Angels, and I will get you their probable starters right now because I forgot to because I'm a bozo. So Game 1, you have Nestor Cortez going up against Griffin Canning. We've talked at length about Nestor's road ERA not being that good. Then Luis Field versus Tyler Anderson, who's been having a very good year. Then Carlos Rodon versus Patrick Sandoval, who has not been having a really good year. But the Angels have not been having a very good year. 11-24 since April 18th.
Oof.
You don't have the jet lag excuse because you already traveled over. this is one of those ones where you gotta sweep.
Right, especially after an off day on Monday. They're
Yeah,
they
you
are on
gotta.
Monday, right? Like,
And you
hate
have
saying sweep,
like
but like,
you have
I
Rodon
mean,
Heel going up, and yeah, sure you have Nestor on the road, but you're also going up against a pitcher with a 5 ERA.
right.
You know what I mean? And just one thing that I thought was kind of funny is that they're not flying to Anaheim.
Oh, really?
They're actually driving up there. Yeah, they're taking a team bus up there, which I can, because I've done that trip where I stayed at a hotel half a mile away from San Diego or from Petco Park, and then I drove up to Anaheim, and it's like an hour 15 drive.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. Why fly?
It's not a bad drive at all, and I thought that was interesting because I feel like you never hear about that.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's
Like,
all I got for.
Even if they do it, like, you just don't hear about it, which I think is fun from just like a team perspective.
Yeah, like a
The
fun.
guys, like, hanging out, you know.
Yeah,
But
I would love to be on like those flights. You know what I mean? Like, how much shit gets said on those flights?
I'm sure a lot of it too is just like guys resting, but I'm sure there are some like wild stories or like shit that just happens.
Even like you have the Vikings, like the Kirk Cousins chains moment where he's like dancing. That went viral. That's one that you travel probably 7 times in like a football season, maybe. Or no, you're gonna be traveling more. But basically, you're gonna be traveling a lot more than that. So there's gonna be a lot more shit that goes on. But
yeah, definitely.
Yeah, that's all I have really for the Yankees. If you have anything else to add,
not really. Just a lot better than I got to deal with.
Yeah.
With, those fuckers and Baby Yoda. But
hey, I was gonna say Baby Yoda.
Baby Yoda, Baby Yoda.
Those fuckers and the Mets.
So. Yeah, exactly. But no, just good stuff. Good stuff all around. The team's really clicking, and you can't really ask for much more.
Yeah. Outro monkey.
Yes. But once again, thank you guys for listening and or watching. Reminder to follow us on all of our social medias, which if you're watching on YouTube, you can look at the bottom of your screen. We're on Instagram, TikTok, of course on YouTube, and Twitter, and Facebook, of course. But yeah, let us know what you think of the new overlay. Happy to be back. We'll let you guys know when we find more of consistent schedule. But without further ado, thank you guys again, and we will see you in the next episode.